Went to the doctor, and thank God she sent me to the emergency room, even though my blood pressure was fine. And she goes, let's just rule out heart problem, just in case. Just go to the emergency room. Well, Steve, it was a heart attack, and it was a significant event.
It doctor would have been
just to let you
ultimately
know,
serious.
Yes, the doctor saved my life twice.
Welcome to Faith and Family, a radio outreach of Family Life Center International. And now from Greenville, South Carolina, here's your host, Steve Wood.
Hello, this is Steve Wood, and welcome to Faith and Family. I want to thank you for joining us for this broadcast today. In fact, we're going to do something a little different, and honestly, we've had to wrestle with some very significant problems that families and marriages and parents are facing. And today we have just a great show about some good news. We have a show entitled Heart Health, and we're not talking about spiritually your heart. We're talking about your heart, literally your physical heart. And just going to start with a disclaimer. Today we're going to be sharing some personal health stories and some healthy heart strategies we have personally taken advantage of. But, and I want to be really clear about this, we do not intend for our stories to be any type of medical diagnosis or recommendations or prescriptions. We're certainly not physicians, and therefore we're not offering medical advice. So anything you contemplate after hearing this show should be discussed first with your family physician. And I want to start today with a scripture from Sirach, chapter 38. And on behalf of our Protestant friends listening, I want to just basically remind you that when the King James Bible, which is the famous Protestant Bible, was published, did you know that there was a prison sentence or a fine put on the publishers if they didn't include those deuterocanonical books of the Bible? So Sirach was in the original King James, just wasn't considered as scripture. And you know that the other name for Sirach is Ecclesiasticus, which means church book. And this was the book that was used in the early church to give practical daily wisdom to pagans who had become Christians. So in any case, here we are, Sirach 38. Honor the physician with the honor due him, according to your need of him, for the Lord created him. For healing comes from the Most High. The skill of the physician lifts up his head, and in the presence of great men he is admired. This is what I want you to pay real careful attention to verse 4. The Lord created medicines from the earth, and a sensible man will not despise them. By them he heals and takes away pain. The pharmacist makes of them a compound. His works will never be finished, and from him health is upon the face of the earth. I have a very special guest here with me in the studio today. For the first time, she has moved 10 feet. Connie Brushaber, my assistant here at the Family Life Center and the producer of Faith and Family Radio, is the person who records all these shows, gets them out to the radio stations and makes them available in CDs for folks. And Connie, thank you for joining us on this side of the window today.
Thank you. It's a whole different perspective. I'm happy to be here.
Now you know what I go through every week, right?
I do.
Okay. Well, today we're telling our healthy heart stories. It's not that we're claiming we have the perfect healthy hearts, but both of us, from two different perspectives, have stories about healthy hearts. And I just looked up in Wikipedia before the show, and it just mentioned that heart diseases are the most common cause of death globally as of 2008, counting for 30% of deaths worldwide. It used to be infectious diseases were the leading cause of death, and now heart disease is the leading cause of death. So I'd like to start with my story, because my story in sequence precedes Connie's story, and we're going to share both stories with you. But basically, I have grown up in a family with heart disease. My grandfather's first heart attack was at 30 years old, and I was aware of this growing up and as a teenager. And then I realized as a teen that my dad was having heart problems. There wasn't a whole lot of medical assistance even to offer for the problems he was having. And my father died of a heart attack at 52. My brother died of a heart attack at 62. And I remember vividly when my dad died, quite unexpectedly. I was a sophomore in college. I had to go tell my grandfather about, his son's death, and he was in the hospital with a heart attack. So I basically grew up then in my 20s and 30s not expecting to live that long given my family history. And at 50 years old, I wandered into a cardiologist's office, and she very wisely asked me, she was a very astute former professor of cardiology and everything. She says, "Why are you here?" And I said, "Well, my dad died at 52. I have all these kids, and I'd sure like to be around for a while to see them grow up and get married and have their own children." So she understood perfectly because her father had died quite early. I started doing all the things they said to do, and I had high cholesterol, high blood pressure, some fibrillations and all this stuff, and they just kept giving me more medicine, and it didn't seem to be working real well. So finally, they put me on the maximum amount of blood pressure medicine they could give a person, and that wasn't enough, and so they put me on diuretics. And the result was I was hopping around the bedroom late at night with leg cramps because all the minerals in my body were going out. And, at that point, I thought, there's got to be a better way. And I started reading on heart disease because I love reading. I love researching. I obviously had a family need. And I started discovering that there's a whole lot of things, simple things, just like from Sirach 38:4, where it says, this is from the Bible. And again, for our Protestant friends, this was used by the early church as the Bible. And for our King James Bible lovers, I want to include everybody on this because this isn't a Protestant and Catholic show. This is just everybody's a human being show. It says that the Lord created medicines from the earth, and a sensible man will not despise them. And I started finding some really exciting things that were very simple to do. And I started reducing some of my medications. I started eliminating some of my medications. I started feeling much better. And I must mention one of the wisest things I did. I thought I was one of those people who was absolutely insane. I spent $1,000 on a bicycle. And I thought people who spent that much on a bicycle were out of their minds when you can get one for 99 bucks at Walmart. But I started doing a lot of cycling because I couldn't run any longer. My knees kind of gave out. And between my bicycle and Sirach 38:4, some medicines from the earth, I feel better now in my late 60s than I did in my early 50s. So that's my story. I'm not telling you exactly what it was because we're going to have some time to do that. Connie, your story is very dramatic.
Yes.
You shocked me.
Yes.
Both a little under 2 years ago, about 18, 19 months ago.
Yes.
And you shocked me again yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You really did. And so I wandered down while you were busy filling some orders for folks at the Family Life Center, and I want you to tell your story.
Okay, Steve. Thank you so much for letting me share, because I just hope that there are a lot of ears to hear my story. Unlike you, I did not have any family history of heart trouble, and so in April 2015, I had the health shock of my life. I had a heart attack. As you know, I just was not feeling well. It had been Holy Week, and then Easter Sunday, I wasn't feeling well. I thought I had a pinched nerve. muscular problems because my arms felt heavy and strange and I had heartburn sensations running up and down my back. So went to the doctor, and thank God she sent me to the emergency room, even though my blood pressure was fine. And she goes, let's just rule out heart problem, just in case. Just go to the emergency room. Well, Steve, it was a heart attack, and it was a significant event.
It doctor would have been
just to let you know,
ultimately serious.
Yes, the doctor saved my life twice. I won't go into all the details, but Jesus was very merciful to me, and I lived to tell the tale. And I have to tell you, I was afraid about the blood work coming back because I thought, okay, my cholesterol must be bad. You know, cholesterol is always the monster.
Right.
Well, it turned out it was not my cholesterol. I didn't have, my cholesterol levels were perfect. My BMI was fine. I was just slightly overweight. I had no diabetes. As I told you, no family history. What caused this? You know, my cardiologist said, well, Connie, some people just have bad luck. And I just said, no, it has to be more than bad luck.
That's not a scientific answer.
No. You know, I was so grateful he saved my life, but I knew there was something. There had to be something. So, of course, I started exercising, you know, healthier diet and all. And, of course, I walk every day praying the rosary and chaplet like I've never prayed before. And then I started revisiting all the wonderful books and resources. You, Steve, the bibliophile that you always tease us.
Poor Connie. I come in with not a book a week. It's usually two or three a week.
Right. Yeah. But, you know, thank the good Lord that you give me these books and you've given me information on alternative therapies, not all these medicines, these, you know, really these prescription drugs that really have serious side effects. And I was like, I have no cholesterol problems. Why am I on statin drugs? That kind of thing. And what you had shared with me months before my heart attack, you had been sharing with me the amazing miracle of vitamin C. People really have a chronic deficiency in vitamin C and other minerals. This is something that many doctors who are not quacks have researched and studied thoroughly. The first book you told me about, and I had bought and I had at home before my heart attack, was called Why Animals Don't Get Heart Attacks, But People Do. And
I know. I'm holding this book right now, and it's a fascinating book.
It was so fascinating. I did not know that animals produce their own vitamin C. I mean, anywhere from 1,000 to 100,000 milligrams. Right. And they never suffer heart attacks and strokes. But why are we?
And they have high cholesterol, by the way. Like bears have sky-high cholesterol, and they don't have heart disease.
I know. So I was like, you know, and Steve, you had been showing me, I see all the fun vitamins and minerals in the refrigerator in the office here at Family Life Center. And I started taking you seriously. Well, I was taking you seriously, but I was not a supplement vitamin type of person. But I said, you know, I'm going to start this. I'm going to start taking mega doses, which is like anywhere from 5 to 8,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day.
Okay, now I need to kind of interject in case anybody listening who is responding that, and I don't want to get too graphic here, but you just can't go down to your local drugstore and start taking that much vitamin C because you'll be, your body can't assimilate it.
Exactly.
So what do you do?
Yes. Well, there is a vitamin C called liposomal vitamin C, which is in liquid form. And the science behind it is that it's delivered to the cells without having to really
go through
all the digestive system. So it gets right to the cells. And you take it, you know, throughout the day, like, you know, not all at once in huge, massive doses at once. So you're delivering the vitamin C to your bloodstream throughout the day. And I also started reading other wonderful books and sources that you had given me. Dr. Levy, he's another cardiologist who definitely believes that not only is heart disease preventable, but it is reversible. Okay, now I'm in that situation. I want my heart disease to be reversible.
And I must say, we'll go maybe talk about some of these books more in depth. But I know Dr. Levy's books, one of them I have here was really written for physicians because he was a adjunct professor of medicine at Tulane and all this type of thing. And he discovered this. So one of his books I have here, he has over 1,200 scientific papers and references to the usefulness of vitamin C. And it used to be you had to take it intravenously, an IV, because you couldn't get enough in through your digestive system.
Right.
But now with this liposomal vitamin C, you can get from Amazon or your
It's
local
wonderful.
vitamin place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, it's just, and it's actually tasty. It's not any problem to take. And the whole beauty of this is that there's really no side effects or damage, you know,
Yeah,
that
vitamin C doesn't hurt you.
It does
Right.
not hurt you at all.
Now, if you don't mind my asking, about how much vitamin C do you take a day?
I take about 6,000 to 8,000,
Okay.
And then, of course, I do hope and pray that some of the foods we take in
Right.
have some of the vitamins that we need. But as you have taught me so well, and as most people probably know, our soils have been so depleted of the good minerals
Right.
and the vitamins that, we do need to go the supplemental route. So anyway, Dr. Levy also in his other book, now you had talked about one that's directed to physicians. He has another one just called Stop America's #1 Killer. And in that, he has laid out, it's so easy to read, it's layman's language, and it's just, it just drew me. I said, I've got to follow this regimen. He puts it right in the book, his vitamin and mineral regimen. And it has, do you want to know the 3 miracle workers that he really...
Well, the vitamin C.
The vitamin C, #1. And then he is a strong believer in lysine and L-proline. They are amino acids, which, you can take in capsule form. Once again, no side effects. And what they do, they prevent the development of atherosclerosis, i.e. clogged arteries.
Right.
Yes. And these...
Isn't it even, you talked about it can even sometimes reverse like the calcium buildup in arteries and
Absolutely.
that type of thing.
Yes.
And so if you're on the mega vitamin C, you're taking the lysine and proline, it can actually improve a situation.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's the biggie.
Yes, and then the #3, which is known as the unheralded star, is magnesium. Okay, and you can get that in sea mineral, like a liquid form, which I take every day. So anyway, I've been following this regimen, and I've been, just to the letter. I really appreciate and respect Dr. Levy. I've actually been able to email him, and he emailed me back. In his book, he even has his email, and I'll tell you his website later.
Now, just let me enter. Didn't he usually get back to you within like 30 or 60 minutes? Too?
Yes, he was wonderful.
Yeah, he really wants to help people.
Yes,
with
he
this.
really does. He really does. So I was just, I really was feeling very good. I mean, I was feeling very healthy and all, but I had to wait and see what my echocardiogram told me. Okay, I have to explain. At the time in the hospital, what the doctors measure is what's called an ejection fraction, and that's the measurement of the percentage of your blood that pumps out every time the heart contracts, okay? The average person's should be between 55 and 65%. Well, in the hospital, mine was 35, very low, very chronic.
Okay.
Then after 3 months later, I had an echocardiogram, which did show damage to my heart. I was sad because the doctor said, well, maybe your heart just got stunned and there's no damage. But the echo did show I did have damage. But I had already started these therapies and I was exercising and doing everything right. And my ejection fraction was up to 40 to 45%, which was good. Good improvement.
Right.
And my cardiologist said, but I'm sorry, Connie, it's probably the best it's ever going to get. I'm sorry, the damage is irreparable. But, it's a good percent, just keep doing what you're doing. But I just refused to believe that, and I wanted to...
And I kept giving you books.
You kept giving me books.
And you kept reading the books.
Yes.
And more than any person,
Yes.
I'm willing to share this with anyone, but more than any person I know, you really took this to heart and went... And obviously, through what you went through, I mean, you were near death, you had serious heart attack, and then... they're telling you this is the best it's going to get, which isn't what
and
it should be.
This is not what I'm reading,
Right.
Thanks to my bibliophile boss. So I just said, well, I'm just going to keep on keeping on. And I had to wait a whole year for my next echocardiogram.
Okay.
And
which was just recently,
Yeah,
right?
just recently. Mm-hmm. Okay. I had my echocardiogram. And interestingly enough, how God is always at work. The day of my echocardiogram, the reading at Mass was from Ezekiel 36. I will give you a new heart and place a new spirit within you, taking from your body your stony hearts and giving you natural hearts, etc. And then, of course,
You went off to the cardiologist.
Yeah, then I went
okay.
off to the cardiologist. The results came back, Steve. My cardiologist said your ejection fraction, now keep in mind, was 35 in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
It would never get above 40 to 45. It is now 55 to 65%. It is normal range.
Perfect.
I have 0 damage to my heart. And the cardiologist said he has never seen a recovery like this. Keep doing what you're doing. He just looked puzzled and pleased. He said, now this is my new cardiologist. It's not the one that I had in the hospital. He said, maybe your heart was just stunned in the hospital after all. No,
Oh, you
doctor.
were in intensive care for a long time and everything.
Oh, yeah. No, doctor. And he knows it. He was
Yeah.
looking at both, the results. And he just said, I just have never seen anything like this. He goes, and this is in less than 2 years since your heart attack, this recovery. It's just, your heart is completely normal. I don't need to see you for another year. I was just, I'm going to probably show everyone my age, but I've been playing Andy Williams' Happy Heart. Well, actually, I just have been so grateful to God and grateful to you, Steve. Really, God brought me to the Family Life Center. Little did I know that you would be an integral part in really reversing my coronary heart disease. I now have a normal working heart.
Well, I have a natural bent to help people. It's just a natural bent, and I love to read and research. And people listening to this broadcast, I have a passion to prevent these problems. I don't want to see marriages break. I don't want to see families have heart-wrenching problems. I want to see godly kids. So I try to develop these strategies. So again, I saw that what was happening to me wasn't good. And I had a double board-certified cardiologist. I had a other cardiologist that was a professor of cardiology. And I was getting worse, not better. Mm-hmm. And between a bicycle and these books, and again, I may fall dead tomorrow of a heart attack, okay? But I'm saying I'm 68, and I feel better today than I did 18 years ago.
Yeah, praise the Lord.
I don't get colds nearly as much. I can't remember the last time I got the flu. I still get colds and the flu, but it's so far in between that I forget the last time I was sick.
Exactly, the same with me. And what's wonderful is now, I think the fruit is that my family, my immediate family and my extended family now have those ears to hear. They're now more open because this is beyond, it's
they
it's
saw
a miracle.
what you went through.
Yeah, they saw
know what you were going through.
Exactly.
And I know that they were exceedingly concerned when you were in the hospital. And and you have a twin sister who's obviously she's got the same
genetic makeup.
everything as you do. And
she's doing these. She follows the regimen that I do. And she's doing well. She has absolutely no problems. So I just can't thank you enough and thank these doctors.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, we're going to make available, and again, this isn't any kind of prescription. Connie isn't a physician. I'm not even, I don't know if I have any physicians in my immediate or extended family. I offer no professional advice. We're just telling our stories. And I'm of the rather firm conviction that God has made our bodies wonderfully, and every Christian would agree with that. But I'd like to take it a step further, that he has given, through everything he's made in the world, those things which we need for our bodies to sustain health. And I'm not talking about the health and wealth gospel, and you're never going to have a problem in that. You know better than that.
Right.
In fact, I'm going to have a radio show on that soon. But the idea that some of these things, that the body, just like when you get a cut, it can heal itself. There's internally ways to heal ourselves. Degenerative diseases are multiplying while our soils are depleting and such. But, the biggie it started for me was with vitamin C. and a doctor by the name of Linus Pauling. And the first book you recommended, Why Animals Don't Get Heart Attacks But People Do, is by Dr. Rath, who was Dr. Pauling's research assistant.
Yes.
So that put us right in the middle of Dr. Pauling's camp. The magazine New Science called him one of the 20 greatest scientists of all human history. In 2000, he was ruled the 16th most important scientist in history. He won a Nobel Prize for biochemistry. He got another Nobel Prize for his peace activism. And, I mean, his list of accomplishments, but basically Dr. Pauling figured out that humans and a few animals like guinea pigs, which is great because then you can experiment with the diet of guinea pigs, because we have a genetic defect, and actually now Dr. Levy has shown they've actually identified the defective gene, that humans can't make vitamin C naturally like animals can.
Exactly.
A goat is far better off than I am when it comes to vitamin C. A goat's under stress. By the way, stress, your need for minerals and vitamin C skyrockets. And, you know, just driving to work in today's world is stressful.
Right, exactly.
Okay? It's not like
yes.
walking down to the village store and back, you know, and having a nice, peaceful walk through the countryside.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're under almost continual stress. And if you load the vitamin C, and Dr. Pauling, you know, now, I mean, I've gone to a physician and mentioned this, you know, and just he rolls his eyes, because there are studies which basically don't do enough vitamin C and don't do it long enough and don't do the right kind. And as a result,
Right.
they're not seeing the results. You've been listening to episode 153 of Faith and Family, and Connie and I have put together a resource sheet just describing our stories on healthy hearts. And you can request that resource sheet by sending an email to askthehost@gmail.com. Till next time, this is Steve Wood, your host, reminding you, in the words of St. John Paul II, the future of the world and of the church passes through the family.
Faith and Family is a radio outreach of Family Life Center International.